Mr. Deity.
Alright, peace family, this brother Tim coming at you live. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. We are right now about to go on the journey of talking about those tribal quotes. And of course, you know this is a Heart of a Symbol production, where we strive to blow up your old paradigm. I'm sitting up here at the Shisha Lounge, relaxing. I'm saying, I told y'all we doing some shows from here. We're gonna be doing some other shows live, and I had an opportunity to come out tonight. Got a little bit of time before I had to get up, you know, go to bed and stuff like that. So I wanted to come out here and do the show live with y'all, you know, let y'all know some of the black businesses that be supporting. So those that want to call in, you can hit me up at 614-556-4535. You let me know. It'll let me know when you come up, and we can start talking. But we won't even hit the news because I'm running late, family. I came out, you know, because I ain't leave work until about, well, I really don't have a job. I have an adventure, right? I have the pleasure of working with our kids every day. And every day I get a maximum amount of love, and every day I get new challenges. And it's like, It's truly a marvelous journey to be able to work with our kids and some of them see the lights come on, and then in others to struggle to try to get a light to come on, right? So I'm forever blessed. So and I'm grateful that I work in the circle of people that I work with, because all over the city we got people of like minds. So I know that in some form or fashion I could reach out, and there's somebody out there to support me, somebody I can lean on when I'm tired, somebody I could build with, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm real grateful. So what we're going to do is, first off, we almost done with the African Openness to Tree of Life. This is the book we're going to be coming from today. Make sure y'all can see it. All right, got to stay still. African Openness to Tree of Life. We all the way in the back. So we passed the Proverbs, but we almost done with that book. Now, once we finish that, we're going to move back into the Gye-Nyame Journey Handbook, Gye-Nyame Journey Workbook, the Tribal Quotes, right? Now, I didn't write this. I just compiled a whole bunch of Proverbs. So we're going to start all the way over and go all the way back through the process. We've been doing this show for like 3 years. I don't know. I got to look it up. Well, anyway, we've been doing this show for a long time, right? And we're just going to start the process over. So, and hopefully we get some more insight from these Proverbs, because one of the things I keep on telling y'all, when you start messing with the Proverbs of our ancestors, you start finding out that it's layered. So every time you go through a proverb, if you have shown any growth in your life, you are going to get a different perspective on that proverb, and hopefully get some new wisdom. You get a new way of living your life, because that's what it's for. Our ancestors crystallized the wisdom for us, right? You know, and we got to remember that, you know, although we did have writing, you know what I'm saying, we were oral people, man. You know what I'm saying? We passed on a lot of information through conversation. We passed on a lot of information through actual relationships with other individuals, right? So we have to kind of start embracing that fact, you know what I'm saying? And stop trying to, in a sense, compare our culture with other people and show that we are up to par with other people's style, right? Because we're falling into the trap. And the trap is trying to prove yourself. We tell our kids not to do that, right? You don't have to prove yourself. I'm saying it to us as a culture. I'm saying it to us as a group. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody. We don't have to prove ourselves as a people to nobody. All we have to do is do the work. We got to get out of this whole individual mindset where I'm pulling myself up. No, we got to pull our group up. You got to pull your tribe up. You got to pull your family up. Because the only success comes when the group is successful. Because why is that, Brother Atim? That is, the group helps protect the wealth and the success that is gathered. What y'all hear is going on. It's real time here at the Shisha Lounge. Once again, this is Brother Hatim coming at you. So let's go on and let's jump off into the Proverbs of the day. All right. For those that's following along in the book, I'm on page 65. And right now, we are in a chapter called The Way of Ideas and Symbols. So, the ancestor, Erskine Peters, felt that it was important not only to bring the Proverbs to the people and name it the Tree of Life, but he felt that it was important that he had a whole chapter that he dedicated to discussing ideas and symbols. Because when you look at it, family, it's the ideas and it's the symbols of the society and the system and the structure that we're in that's holding us down. It's no longer the chains. It's the symbols and the ideas. I'm getting back into an old book called The Biology of Belief. In the Biology of Belief, they talk about the importance of nurture as well as nature, right? Of course, there are certain things that's hardwired into us, right? But they start talking about the power of the environment upon organisms. So the guy, his last name is Lipton. I can't remember Lipton, like the tea. The guy talked about how environment affects organisms. So what he did was he did an experiment with stem cells. So he would take stem cells and put them in one environment, and the stem cell would turn into, let's say, a heart cell. Then he would put the stem cell in another environment, and the stem cell would then turn into a kidney cell, and then it would turn into a muscle cell. And it depending on what environment he put the cell in, that cell will become that. Now, what I need you to understand, and what we need to understand, family, is that we are a collection of cells. And if, in experimentation, you can change the very nature of a cell by the environment that you expose it to, the question we all have to wrestle with is, what environment are we exposing ourselves to? What environment are we exposing our children to? Right? You know what I'm saying? What is the forming ideas and symbols that make up the petri dish of your life? Y'all got it? You know what I'm saying? So think about it. Now, anybody want to join the conversation, hit me up at 614-556-4535. It'll be just like you here at the Seashore Lounge. Anybody that's in the neighborhood, come on in. You can share on my hookah. You know, get you a cup of coffee if you don't smoke. They got tea. They got, you know, it's a whole bunch of stuff. So let's get the conversation started. So here we go. Here is the first idea that he's throwing out, at least for the night. Symbols have reciprocative power, reciprocative power. They take on or take in meaning as well as give off meaning. Of course, the meaning is determined by what is lodged in the perceiving consciousness, which consequently leads to or becomes point of view. Symbols are indices because they are integrated information images they reveal by association. The symbol is never one particular thing. It is always suggestive of what particular things can connote when placed in patterns or associations. That's a goddamn mouthful. Alright? We're going to come back to that. Let's read the next one. The symbol generally conceals, this is another one. The symbol generally conceals as much as it reveals in testimony to how it can function as process. The mind wishing to unveil the concealed becomes engaged with the form. The consciousness connects with the form. And through this binding process, revelation is possible. Thus, connecting is requisite to knowing. On some level, we must engage the symbol if we are to know it. Now, that one we definitely gonna hit. The other one I'm kind of still thinking about. Here's the last one. The personal world itself is full of symbolic value, domestic, linguistic, etc. All right, that's it. So now we got those three. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrestle and struggle through the first one. If there's any ideas out there about what it means, feel free to type it in or feel free to call in. Let me check and make sure ain't nobody called in because it's hard to kind of hear out here. All right, nobody called in. So let's keep the conversation going. All right, so here we go. Symbols have reciprocative power. All right. So now, symbols are based on the power of reciprocity. For those that don't know, reciprocity is one of the laws, one of the principles of Maya. Reciprocity, what comes around, goes around, right? Symbols are based, their power comes from the power of reciprocity, right? So when we start plugging into symbols, when we start plugging into and understanding symbols, what we start doing, right? Think about this. What we start doing, we start plugging into the power of reciprocity. So in order for me to get something from the symbol, I have to give something to the symbol. That means I have to trade my intention to the symbol. A lot of us want stuff real quick. A lot of us want stuff real easy. But in order for us to really to extract the power of the mystery, the power of the knowledge and the wisdom from a symbol, we have to be willing to give our attention. Now, this is why your world is full of things that's trying to take your attention. Right? You know what I'm saying? As soon as you get used to your phone, they bring out iPhone X, which is a whole conversation in itself. Right? Just when you think you have time to study, another assignment comes from your work. Just when you think you got time to study, another holiday has come around. Just when you're about to give attention, this world is designed to take your attention, because in your attention and in what you give attention to, you give your power. And if you're giving your power to something that is not generating power back, that's an unfair trade. That's a trade imbalance. An individual nor a country can survive with a trade imbalance. As a human being, you got to put out whatever energy you're putting out, you have to take back in. If not, there's an imbalance and you become unhealthy and you die. If a country is putting out more than it's taking in, the country dies. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to symbols, the power of reciprocity works when we start investing ourselves into the study, into the understanding of the symbols. When we start investing our attention into the symbols. Y'all got it? All right, so now let's move on. Part 2. They take on or take in meaning as well as give off meaning. Now, they take on or take in meaning. Now, when we are interacting with symbols, it is not a one-way affair. The symbol gains from us as well as gives to us. So it says a symbol takes on meaning. So this is why an old symbol can be re-energized with new ideas. It still can maintain the old ideas that's with it, but younger people can take an old symbol and imbue it with life. You understand what I'm saying? So now, and I know some of y'all out there is not catching the concept of the power of symbols. Symbols hold crystallized ideas that once you tap into them, they move you to another level in your life. They move you to another level of understanding, which gives you the ability to overcome obstacles. All right? So let's move. They take on or take in meaning. So one, the symbols could take on meanings that you're throwing out, and also and make it their own, as well as give off meaning. So when we look at it, they take in what you're putting on it, as well as send back what it meant to whoever developed the symbol, whatever group developed the symbol. Because I want you to understand, central to culture, a central theme in cultures is symbols. Look at every culture. Every culture has them. Every nation has them. Every people have them. When a people start losing respect for its own cultural symbols, that's when that nation starts to fall. One of the first things that people try to do when they try to destroy a nation is destroy that nation's symbols, desecrate the symbols. You see it when gangs are fighting. Like, for example, you can see it just basically in the hood. You go through the hood, you see some writing on the wall, right? And it's in the wrong neighborhood. An individual come up and desecrate that idea. You see the ideas of our culture being desecrated all the time. You want to humble somebody. You want to destroy somebody. Destroy their symbols, family. Attack their symbols. You know what I'm saying? It does something to people psychologically that most people don't understand. But those of us that study, we understand the power of symbols, right? All right, the meaning is determined by what is lies in the perceiving consciousness, which consequently leads to or become a point of view. All right, so now, the symbols of the culture plug into your consciousness, and it unleashes things that you didn't even know was in there. This is why it's important that you be careful about what symbols you allow around your children. What ideas you allow around your children. Because it lodges, because as they said before, it gives off meaning as well as take in meaning. Right? Look at some of the symbols that you use. I mean, and it's like, there's nothing complicated. Some of y'all have symbols that you use every day that you're not even aware of it. I mean, we could go, and we could take it. Because I want you to think about this. If symbols aren't that real or and not that powerful, if I was to ask everybody that's right now that's listening, if I was to ask you, what toothpaste do you use? You get a picture in your head. You ain't just getting a picture of the paste unless the paste is like, because they do design the paste to kind of have a symbol. Certain toothpaste do have certain colors, right? You know what I'm saying? That get your attention that you know is a certain toothpaste. But every toothpaste has a package. Everybody here got a favorite snack. Most of those snacks have wrappings on them. You look on the wrappings are full of symbols. Everybody in here go to gas stations. You look at the gas station. Every gas station has a symbol. Some of us only go to certain gas stations. Symbols. Symbols allow communicate things to us. Communicate belonging or opposition to us. Right? Now, let's go. Symbols are indices because they are integrated information images. They reveal by association. So by you associating with it, you learn more. By you engaging with it, you learn more. The symbol is never one particular thing. It is always suggestive of what particular things can connote when placed in a pattern or association. So the symbol is not the thing itself. The symbol represents something in reality. You understand what I'm saying? It's like your thoughts aren't the things that you're thinking about are not your thoughts. But the thoughts are symbols of the things out in the world. Like if you got a favorite car, just because you're able to think about the car, just because you're able to envision the car, what's in your mind is not necessarily real. That's just a symbol of the reality. You understand what I'm saying? So these symbols are reality manipulating devices. Now let's get to the second part, and I'm gonna let y'all go. All right?
Hi, Tim.
Uh-oh. I didn't know you was on there. What's up, Lady J? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, I agree with the power behind symbols. Like just today, my lesson was I was working with my students on math tools. And they have to understand that there are symbols on maps. Mm-hmm. But within talking about the symbols, if we could use a word and we could come up with the picture to represent that, and then we could also, if I use the symbol or show the symbol, we automatically knew what that was, right?
Right.
So I think that I agree, there's meaning locked behind these symbols. But I think for some things, it is the energy that is the energy, and then it's also the belief in that symbol. So if there,
go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying piece of somebody.
I'm just saying. Okay, so I'm thinking there has to be energy behind it as well.
Oh yeah.
So
now, what produces that energy? That's behind the symbol.
You do, because it's all, it's like you said, it's reciprocity. So whatever energy you give off is what comes back to you. So if you believe if you associate certain things with an image and that's what you believe, that's what's going to come back to you. But
right.
However, if there is a symbol and it is symbolic to you, and you put that energy out, as regards to that symbol, that will come back to you as well.
Exactly. Now,
but I say that to say, yeah. But I say that to say that there are certain signs or symbols that may be something that is negative. Okay,
it's
I'll
a
give you
whole
an
bunch.
example. So
Whole bunch.
I'm riding down the street, right? I'm
Word.
coming home and I find these three dolls in the trash. Like I'm just driving down the street and I can see the African print on the clothes, right? I
Right.
can see African print. So I see my neighbors, they got put out, right? So they had abandoned their place. And they left these dolls there, and these dolls are like really nice dolls. They have stands on them. They are in very lovely clothes. They're very neatly sewn. They're just really nice. So I get the dolls. Mind you, other neighbors are digging through the trash, but no one cares about these dolls that are in the trash. So I take the dolls and I bring them home, and I send some pictures out of these dolls that I'm so excited I just found. And so some people responded as if to say, well, why do you think they left them behind? Those are probably voodoo dolls. They are probably that, which could have been true. But if I choose not to believe that these are voodoo dolls, if I choose to believe that these are dolls that bring about good fortune, bring about good energy, that these are guardians, anything, whatever I believe these dolls to symbolize or to be, that's what it's going to make it. If I consider, like my kids, they were running around here saying the same thing. My kids said they looked scared. So I bring the dolls in the house, and then my daughter falls. And what did she do? She blames the dolls because she already scared of the dolls, right?
Right.
So the dolls was bad luck for her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
that's the energy that it was arising out of her, and it's reciprocity. So since she was giving that off in
That's what she
connection
got.
with that symbol, that came right back to her.
A sister on.
So,
wait,
I
Shashet Mayat said the universe is reciprocal. Everything you put out comes back to you.
correct. I believe that.
So
I believe that. I believe that's the secret.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like when they talk about the secret, like that's what I think about Hakim. I think about it's so simple. Life is so simple. If we understand the universe, we understand that everything is energy, right?
Word.
And so that all things in my life are based off of energy, and it's just that simple. It's that simple. I am the master of everything that is within me because I control that energy.
Now, one of the things that our ancestors would do to empower symbols would be rituals with the symbols, right? For example,
I agree.
so to change the perspective of the dials with your children, since your children are familiar with libations, maybe you might need to set up some form of ritual where you could change the energy, the idea of the energy for your children by including the dials in some type of ritual or ceremony. This is what rituals and ceremonies do for groups. See, because as an individual, you are powerful, but we are more powerful when we work as a group. Because just like our body is made up of individual microbes, individual cells, nations are made up of individual beings or individual cells, which you are one of. So what makes the symbols for a culture even more powerful is when people start looking at symbols and start doing different things with them. I had an elder, I think his name was Baba Tenu. Baba Tenu was a Yoruba priest, and Baba Tenu told me years ago, he said, listen young brother, you know what I'm saying? In our community we have a problem with money. So when you spending your money, the only thing that I ask you to do to add to your personal ritual is to, every time you give out money, to make sure that the being on that bill is looking at you when you give it out, so that he know what you look like and he come back to you. At first I was like, that's silly. But then he started explaining ritual to me. He said, every time you give your money out, make sure the president's eyes are facing towards you so that the money can always come back. And what he was doing was implanting an idea in me. You know what I'm saying? that, you know what I'm saying, that money, I am worthy of money finding me. I'm worthy of money coming back to me. And it's certain little small things, ideas and symbols that we can start using to empower us. You know what I'm saying? Because, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, for example, we have a lot of our people, because I do it myself, complaining about marching, right? But marching is a ritual. Marching is a ceremony, right? That you do, and certain energy comes off of it. Now, the thing is, you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but if you can recognize the energy being generated by the people that's doing it, you are able to use that power and direct it towards whatever goal you have. For example, as a people, we have to start empowering the symbols.
You know what else? You know what else about marches that people don't understand? Like I totally, like I said the other night, I feel like we all should do
what we can.
What we can and what we choose to do, but we should do something. It's not okay to do nothing. But one thing about marches is the more and more I look back over history, there has been no change in America. Like, all major change came by way of marches, and one reason is when you get a group of people together, massive amount of people together, it takes on notoriety not only of our country but of other countries. It puts the word out. People organize themselves en masse. And so when we think about, I'm not even talking about the second civil rights movement, the first civil rights movement that came by way when our servicemen began returning from overseas, from fighting in the war, and they too organized a march to fight, to speak out. That march, every march brought awareness. It brings awareness, it brings collectivity, it brings all of that, some more principles, it's necessary. But if you don't want to march, if you don't like walking, you ain't trying to be out there, don't do it. But it does so much, and I agree. The energy of all people being, a massive amount of people being together, is just the purpose.
Now, so let's move to the next one, because this one is the one that I think is, because one, becoming symbol literate. We have to become symbol literate within our community. It just doesn't mean being able to look at other people's symbols and be able to break down what the symbol means to them. It becomes powerful when we are able to look at symbols and break down what it means to us culturally. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of our studies is concerned with what other people are doing or are doing to us. And another aspect of this is, one, start empowering ourselves by focusing on what it is we want to have. Focusing on what the symbols mean to us and start using that power to move us in a proper direction. That's the key piece. Because like I said, symbols they're fueled by reciprocity. And what we have to do is start understanding and believing in the laws that our ancestors left us. Reciprocity is a primary law. You can see it in action in the universe. You put a seed in the ground, you take care of that seed. Through the law of reciprocity, that seed is going to return something to you, right? Our thoughts are the same way. The symbols that we have are the same way. You know what I'm saying? And it's a very powerful tool. But here we go. That symbol generally conceals as much as it reveals its testimony to how it can function as a process. Now, I want people who've been listening for a while, I want y'all to remember that in the earlier part when we was talking about the proverbs and the African openers to the tree of life, one of the major proverbs that we discussed in the African openers to the tree of life says that the best life is achieved through the engagement with systematic processes. Now, this one says that the symbol generally conceals as much as it reveals its testimony to how it can function as process. All right? Now, with symbols, In order for symbols to be empowered, we have to start planning our attention and intentions upon these symbols. That's the secret. Our attention and intention upon symbols. Right? Because what that does is, one, it allows you to start unlocking some of the ancient wisdom that is in the symbol, as well as revealing new secrets of the symbol that you can use to improve who and where you are, improve your family, improve your tribe, improve your nation. You understand what I'm saying? That's why, because if you look at the United States, if I was to ask everybody, what is the symbolic animal of the United States? If I was to ask everybody to describe the flag of the United States, they could tell me all the way down to how many points is on each stars, how many stars is on there, what color the stars are, what color the stripes are. And maybe even be able to tell me the importance of the colors that the United States chose to roll up under. Because these symbols represent the reality in which we want to move to. So they keep you focused on something higher. So when you reach a certain level with a symbol, then you have to pay more attention to the symbol so that it could take you to the next level. Now, next it says, the mind wishing to unveil the concealed becomes engaged with the forms. Now, this goes to the education process, right? With our children, with ourselves, right? By us engaging the symbols, right, gets us to wishing that we could unveil the secrets of the symbol. In doing that, we're supplying the focus. We're supplying the attention to build. You know what I'm saying? So, some of the classes, some of the discussions we have, we need this one, shift the focus from the enemy and shift it directly to us. And directly what that symbol meant to us, what it does for us, and what it can do for us. The consciousness connects with the form, and through the binding process, revelation is possible. Let me say that again. The consciousness connects with the form, and through the binding process, revelation is possible. So the principle, and this is what I need people to understand, is not the symbol that is powerful. It's your consciousness becoming active with the symbol that produces the power for you. This is why the cross means a lot to people. Even though, they know of the cross, but they don't understand. A lot of them are not focusing on the symbolic meaning of the cross. You know what I'm saying? The cross represents struggle. You know what I'm saying? The cross represents sacrifice. It means so many different things. But because we get caught up in just the other bullshit, we're not looking at the symbol. All of us have a cross to bear. What the fuck does that mean? If I'm not paying attention, I'll miss that whole piece. And our kids in school, because one, we have not got their interest. It says the consciousness connect with forms through its binding wait, let me go back. The mind wishing to unveil the concealed becomes engaged with the form. Now, if we want to improve the education and improve the levels of our children's learning, we have to get the mind wishing. We got to get them to start looking at the shit we're giving them and make them or challenge them to start looking deeper at what the fuck we're giving to them. Right now, we're giving them basic surface knowledge, so they're not going to go deeper with it. They don't see anything deeper with what we're giving them as far as our culture. As a matter of fact, the symbols of this society tell them that they need to get away from it. As a matter of fact, you need to get away from who you are because everything about you is wrong. This is the symbolic message that's going out to our people. This is the idea that's going out to our people. In order for you to be successful, you have to get out the hood. Rather than a symbol telling us, in order for us to be successful, we got to bring the hood together and bring it to where we need it to be as a group. Let's read this last one. Thus, connecting is required to knowing. So there is no learning if there's no connection. But go ahead.
I agree with what you just said. we know that the breakdown, like there's no unity in our community, basically. And when I would read about, like when I first heard about gentrification and start looking into it, like and looking into the history of our city, just our neighborhoods in Columbus, one thing that I noticed is that when the people who owned the homes, when things got rough, a lot of those abandoned their homes or they sold their homes, they rented their homes, and that's when the community started to break down. But what should have happened is if we would have stayed pulled together to lease our own instead of just giving it up, that things would have been, but a lot of, when, reading about why so many people have fled, like I was reading it, especially on the Linden area. I was reading an article and doing some type of paper on what occurred in the Linden area as far as black ownership of homes over the last several years, probably since the late 90s, something like that, with them leaving. What happened in that neighborhood.
It started.
I'm sorry.
It started a little bit earlier than that, because if you look at a lot of black neighborhoods, especially in Columbus, you see that the expressway came through and it kind of destroyed the neighborhoods. Now, one sister, Shachette, my aunt, she said she want us to expound on a systematic process. And what I want people to understand is that a systematic process, right? A systematic process. Let me give you an example of a systematic process. The sun rises every day, or better yet, we claim that it rises, but those that, if you go into science, you know that the sun don't really rise. You know what I'm saying? It's the earth rotating, but there's a system there. The plants plug into that system. And what we have to start establishing as people are systematic processes that help us bloom, that empower us. For example, a bank is a systematic process that people have taken and put inside of a building and use it to help fund their ideas and help fund their community. A business is a systematic process. You know what I'm saying? You can develop systematic processes for your own life that will lead you to greatness. And an important aspect of that is empowering certain symbols with the system that you are developing, or use ancient systems to help remind you about the system that you are involved with. Culture is a system, right? By us doing culturally appropriate things, we are plugging into a system that benefits us. Right now, the systematic processes that most of us are involved with and the symbols that most of us are exposed to work against our best interests. So it's easy for me to not do business with you. It's easy for me to want to hate on you. It's easy for me because the systematic processes that we are involved with are shaping and molding us. Like, remember, go back to what I told y'all about the cells at the beginning. If you take stem cells and you put them in a dish, depending on what environment you make that dish, that cell will turn into whatever the environment tells it needs to be. We are the same way, right? When the petri dish provides the system in which the stem cell grows, or your body provides the system in which the stem cells grow within your body, right? Your body produces stem cells. Them stem cells, when they come out, they are neither this nor that, but it will fulfill what your body needs. Now, if your body is sick, if the process you are involved with, an environment that you are creating for your body is sick, then the cells will take on the nature of sickness, right? So, it's the same thing with us as people. The systematic processes that we are either adhering to or plugging into are not building us up. We need to start developing or reawakening some of the systematic processes that made us great. Greatness comes from a systematic process. A lot of us think that it accidentally happened. No, it's a systematic process that propels somebody into success, greatness, wealth, prosperity, happiness, joy, peace, power. It's a system that is developed, and around that system and through that systems, the people that adhere to it build up. But, and this is the big but, the system has to be culturally appropriate. Now you got something you want to add to that, sis? Hold on, sister.
What did you say?
Wait, hold on. Sister said, keep that in mind. Then I would think we should develop our own systematic process to reverse the effects of their process that have worked against us, and that is what we're doing right here tonight. That's what some of y'all are doing at home. That's what you did when you took on the name Shishette, sister out there. That's what Lady J did when she took on the name Lady J. That's what a lot of individuals that's coming to this timeline, a lot of people on Facebook, some of the posts that they're making, they're developing a systematic process. The only thing we have to start doing is investing our attention on it, because you got to realize everything around here is designed to snatch your attention. Everything. Football season, basketball season, your children playing football, you know what I'm saying? The tax season, Valentine's Day, all these little systems, the banks and the jobs that we go to, all these little systems are designed to take your attention, because they understand the value of your attention, and even more so, they understand the value of your belief. We are trying to battle belief with fact. We haven't recognized that shit ain't worked yet. Why? Because belief laid the foundation of culture. It's not necessarily facts. You know what I'm saying? You listen to West Asian history, or what people call European history, it's a bunch of myths. A bunch of them. A bunch of different individuals that's telling their myths in a way that empowers their children. Are we doing the same for ours? So she also says, Sankofa, go back and fetch it. We got to go back and fetch it. But then also, we need to be right here in the present and start developing things that work for us now. That's one of the things I think a lot of us are scared of. We're scared to develop the systems that we need. You know what I'm saying? We kind of feel that it's blasphemy for us to think that we're big enough, that we're great enough to start developing systems. But at one point in time, our Kemetic ancestors were in a situation similar to us. At one point in time, our Nubian ancestors were in a situation similar to us. And at some point in time, somebody was bold enough to stand up and start creating the myths and the symbols for that culture. And when they created one, and a group of them was able to agree and was able to focus on it, they got others. Because other people start seeing their success. Success creates more success. And, well, I'm gonna stop right there. But go ahead, Lady J. You got something you want to add?
No, not really.
Now, and they say the last sentence says, on some level, we must engage the symbol if we are to know it. If we are to know it. You know what I'm saying? To know it, and in knowing it, be able to use its power. So, for those that want to join the conversation, feel free to hit us up at 614-556-4535. As y'all see, I'm over here at the Shisha engaging in some hookah. Sister J, you got something you want to say, or you done for the night?
No, we're just listening. I like I said, you know, I am one. I don't know everything, and some things, you know, I know that as I grow and I mature, I cultivating But one thing that I have known for some time that had to be revealed to me was, was by way of symbols and energy. So I totally agree. And I think that, like you mentioned, libations. I probably would not, personally, I probably wouldn't, I definitely, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't involve the dolls, but there are, I do make it a point to do libations, carry on libations for my children, just not, maybe it's not regular, you know, throughout our time, we, we do, and sometimes it's that we need to do it. And, you know, I don't think that we definitely, even with them, I try to help them understand symbols and symbolism and the energy that we put off and the things that we put our energy into.
And we got to really control that, man. It's incredible, family. It's scary.
It's like this idea. It's like this idea that that money symbolizes wealth. Money symbolizes wealth, and I don't think that I don't know that is a true symbol of wealth. It may be a symbol of something else, but when I think of what wealth is, or things that symbolize beauty, there are symbols of beauty that people attach to beauty, and sometimes if individuals have that symbol of beauty, they're automatically, so sometimes I don't know.
See, now, but
you
now
just have to be mindful.
Let's explore that real quick. Symbols of beauty. We right now is only one person on the line. If you like it, like and share. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some more people in this conversation. But let's talk about some of the symbols that we have in our community for beauty. And we can see that just by shifting the focus just a little bit in our community, we could basically almost resurrect our community. Our ideas of beauty. You know what I'm saying? What are they? I mean, is this something that any of us take time to really think about and try to work with? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the symbol of beauty. I don't want to give my view. You know what I'm saying? But I really want to hear from people. You know what I'm saying? For another symbol, the symbol of wealth. What is our symbol of wealth? Rather than what is the enemy symbol? What is our symbol of wealth? What does it mean? What does it look like? You know what I'm saying? Have we really explored the symbols from our culture that describe what wealth is? See, because one of the issues that we have that we have been trained to pursue other people's symbols. This is why this is why I kind of disagree when we start talking about education. I just want us to be clear in the education that we need our people to pursue. You understand? Because
I don't understand. I don't think that that's the issue. I think that the issue is that when we use the term education, people are using the term incorrectly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Because
that's what
education is key. Right. Education is everything. Education is the way to break the cycle, to break the chain. Education is the way to elevate. But what some people think is education is not education. Schooling is not education. Schooling is not education. Those are two different areas.
When we're discussing
and constructs.
When we're discussing it, so maybe we need another word for it. Maybe we need another symbol. Maybe we need another idea that we use.
It's education. I think of some. I can't prove this, right? I can't prove it. Well, no, I can't prove one thing I'm about to say. When I always think about Alexander the Great and his diary, those primary sources, as my evidence when I tell people that when those Europeans would gain access into parts of Africa, the things that they seen wowed them. wowed them to the point that they wrote about it. They wrote about our university. We've been an educated people. That what is known as education, we were doing that. They found that there. We were studying. We were astronomers. We were doing all of that. This is in our thing. But again, what people associate with an education, people have the wrong. We're using it right. We shouldn't come down on education because that is what is needed. But we need to make sure that people understand that schooling is not equal to. It's not synonymous with education.
But most
people have to know that is a difference.
See, but what I'm saying is, so when we're communicating with people, that's not necessarily.
We need to call it schooling. We need to communicate. And when I'm speaking of schooling, I'll call it schooling.
We need to distinguish.
And when I'm speaking of education, I'm going to speak of education.
See, because most people, when they hear it, they think of schooling. You know what I'm saying? You need to get an education. We thought that meant schooling. That meant, when people told me, when I was younger, and they told me I need an education, I wasn't getting that by me studying by myself. I wasn't getting that, I guess what I was doing when I was hanging at the library wasn't getting an education. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what a majority of us believe.
So I can say this. And probably not a majority until you have experienced the difference. But I come to understand this just through my personal journey. And what I come to find out, one thing that I know is true for many of our students who will graduate top of their class, who do well, is that in school you can do well, you can play school well. You can play school well, but what happens is if you're not educated, as far as if you have not taken authority to elevate yourself, that is a part of education. If you have not taken authority to elevate yourself, then you really don't know anything at all. It's when you take authority over what you know and constructing your knowledge that you become an educated individual. And so that is why a lot of educated people, I know they don't go to college because I grew up seeing that. You see what I'm saying? And once I got old enough, I could make the connection. You see what I'm saying? But there's definitely, but I think that also takes an individual who is educated to understand the difference. So again, I say that we don't change the word education, but we specify that when we're talking about schooling, we're actually talking about schooling because education is something that is necessary, great, and it is something that has been embraced. We created it. I believe that. I believe Alexander the Great.
But now, hold on. When we created it, we have to, because I hear you, but one of the key words that you just used is becoming an authority. This is why, like in Gye-Nyame, I tell people, in order to get to certain levels in Gye-Nyame, you got to create, you got to author something. You have to become authority on something. You have to write a book. You have to come up with some form of way of transmitting the information that you have so that you could become an authority. And a lot of us are just being schooled. We're not taking authority. This is why we talk about the 3 levels of learning in Gye-Nyame. Memorization, intelligence of the mind, and the highest for us is intelligence of the heart. When the information that you have becomes part of you. You know what I'm saying? You and that are one. You and that symbol become one, and people could see it on you. You know what I'm saying? But what we have people arguing about schooling, and that's why when y'all talking to me, I have to hear the schooling piece so that I could be like cool because I know the root word. Because now let's go down to this next one because it's gonna bring us. This might help us in this discussion because believe it or not, we've been on here almost an hour. The personal world itself is full of symbolic value, domestic, linguistic, and etc. Right? A lot of people don't take time to look at the linguistics of the words that were used. They're not looking at the roots of the words. So I understand when people say education, but I know they're not meaning what they say. Education means to pull from within. When I witnessed schooling, it was about information being put into you. That's called schooling. That's called socialization. That's called enslavement.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And what I want to be clear on is when people are saying that, we have to be clear on it because we have to be clear on the symbols that we're using and the things that we get our young people to get out here and start pursuing wholeheartedly. Because what good is you going to school, regardless of whether it's a charter school or a public school or a university, if you're just allowing yourself to be schooled and you're never really brought into authorship, authority over your stuff. That's why in our culture, we talk about mastery. You know what I'm saying? We talk about mastery. It's a whole different mind state when individuals start talking about I'm mastering something, you know, and as a matter of fact, the word mastery is being abused in the school system right now because what they're talking about in mastery, when you look at the education system right now, is not really mastery, it's memorization. Mastery only comes when it becomes intelligence of the heart. After you done worked it in your mind and you done looked at different angles and you paid attention to it and you have basically engaged with the symbol, engaged with the ideas.
So I gotta counter your argument. I apologize because I haven't done that in a long time.
You got a what?
I just gotta counter something you just said.
Go ahead.
And maybe it's again my interpretation, but because of the depth of knowledge they are requiring us to teach or expecting us to teach our students, there's no way mastery would only come by way of transforming the information, putting it into some type of artifact, producing something authentic. So in order for the truth of the matter is that if our teachers are operating, or if a teacher is operating on memorization, and your kid is not able to produce anything, construct anything, put some type of authentic piece together, demonstrating that they can demonstrate that knowledge, that is not mastery. That is not mastery. So I think that some schools, again, they are just saying mastery as if, they passed the test, mastery. But really mastery has to be an authentic assessment. So it can't be something that is in a multiple choice or anything like that. That you can't demonstrate mastery through that. Mastery has to be some type of authentic assessment.
Are you agreeing with me?
What you're talking about, it's not only about knowing it, but it's about using it.
Are you agreeing with me?
I think that in our
you agreeing with me? Is that what you?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying
what the hell going
I am
on?
agreeing with you wholeheartedly, but I'm saying that what I learned in college as far as mastery, the only way a student can demonstrate that is through just what you're saying in a school setting. So some people might be calling mastery, you like you said, they're misusing.
They're misusing the word. That's part of the design, and we need to understand that that's part of the design. I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at the hustle.
They are telling, you can admit that there is a push for these depths of knowledge. And when you look at those depths of knowledge, that's exactly what that is pertaining to.
So,
the highest depth of knowledge, the deepest depth of knowledge is going to be when you can construct something. So that is what we're being pushed to, but people just can't do it. Just like, I don't know, people read the research, but then they don't know how to do the research. I guess. I don't know.
And that's part of the system, right? Because it's like, boom, they just want you good. They just want you good enough so that you can do the basic skills. And what we need to start pushing our kids towards is mastery. In the African Openness Tree of Life, they talk about presenting young people and presenting people with a lure to mastery. You know what I'm saying? How do you lure people to mastery? You get them to start engaging with ideas. You get them to start developing relationships with ideas to where they are able to find and build a personal relationship with the idea, and from that personal relationship, they are able to produce either skills or they show an authority over that skill through speaking, through building, through doing. And then from doing, it becomes they are able to show it in their actions. They start being it. That was the highest level for us. You know what I'm saying? Being it. You know what I'm saying? And from that relationship, reciprocity would expand from you just having a relationship with that thing or that idea to resources being able to you being able to start producing resources so that you can survive, so that you can live, so that you can exist in a state of peace, power, and joy. You know what I'm saying? But hey, check this out. Down because I try to keep it up under an hour. I really enjoy talking with you as usual, Lady J. I love the fact that you like sharing your experience and your personal wisdom with the world. I pray that more people out there will start joining the conversation so that we can start really building on these ideas, because I don't want people to start relaxing and thinking that one person holds this information. This requires, we are cells in the African body. We are cells in the black body, and the cells have to work together in order to lift that body and to keep that body working. Right now, the body is sick because all the cells are doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? They think it's about personal achievement when in fact it's about group achievement. And I know some people, you know, because they hit you with these words like socialism and communism and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But the idea is that success, wealth, prosperity, joy, security, stability are all things produced by the group. Because once a group has it, the group has a desire to keep it and will do anything to keep it. As an individual, I could build wealth, but somebody could take my wealth. But if I'm part of a group, and that group see that somebody taking my wealth is going to be detrimental to them, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to affect the group, that group is going to stand up. This is why I keep telling people it's time for us to start tribing up. So, family, I'm going to end the show with some music. I got a track that I want to play, and I didn't get to play the whole thing the other night, but I'm gonna end the show on this. This is called JSF, Justice, Substance, and Freedom. Number 2. This is by Mr. Deity, also known as Mansour Hotep. He produced these beats. He told me I could use them, but he took a track from a group called Dead Prayers, and I want you to check out the beat, and then we're gonna get on up out of here. All right, so this is JSF, and we out. I want to thank Sister J, Lady J, for joining me. I want to send shouts out to, hold on, Miko, Akchete, Dama, Sheila Tarpey, of course, Shishet Mayat, thank you for the comments. Sister Nicole Pittman. It won't let me go any further up, family. Okay. My cousin Ricky Twiggs, my son Isaiah Williams, Miss Billy Ann Houston. Let's see who else is on it. Carnell Willoughby Bay. Speaking of that, I wanted to end. Matter of fact, since Carnell was on the show, I'm gonna end with one of his tracks. This is something from Spirit, and I think it's called Kick the Boo Boo. I just like saying that. Kick the Boo Boo by Spirit. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. This is the Blinky with Necessary and Creamy Dark. So here you go.
Family, no testing we, much progression be, follow we, where we sniping these, hypersimiles, jokers violate, hang from the timber tree. I'm catching lights like a spectrum, props I collect in my kit, as if I were a rectum. Brothers, women, and children, make sure you protect them. Let loose the abuse, you never know how it would affect them. Man, I don't display my blinky, my hand's not kinky, it's kingly, so when you see me, best bow. Innovative style, direct from Jersey, but of the will be foul. So all my brethren say power, and honey say I. What's all about 7 miles, no smile, so don't infiltrate. The black might state at any rate, I'm more than great, let's just say I'm godly. 3 dimensions, mind, soul, and body. I speaks it all modestly, so y'all diesel follow me, come follow me. It's the blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? Keep the phantom style, black man's profile. Seeping in your soul, creamy thoughts takes control. You're helpless as a bird caught up in my hurricane. I maintain your mainframe when I manifest my name. So captivated slash elated as I saturated you with the skunk rhyme that made you all intoxicated. You'll be quickly debilitated if you disrespect the darkness. Out of the darkness came the light, so watch the yachty spark. On your mark, check the penal projection. Ripping mics like a C-section with the inflection. Son, heard it in the ghetto section. No questions, my abilities emanate from my pithy activities. Mashing lyrics to melodies. Some rap fiends consider this a felony. First mistake, hip-hop is a mental state, not the life of a hustler or a prisoner. It's the blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? Hip-hop is like a vitamin, it could revitalize. Give life to the lifeless, if properly utilized. Extracted from 6 scars comprised. Don't look too far, star. See, this is where the flavor lies. Knowledge is the foundation and manifestation of true wise. We can see past those lies, exercise those third eyes. See, this be the blink because it fails to sink to the lowest degradation of this new hate-hop nation. We be the brand new sensation. 2 styles in variation. Adjust your antenna, check your station. It's the blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? In my galactic arena, this piece be cosmic. Tune's real gothic, word is born, you can't stop it. My concepts is real, raw deal like Shaquille. Coming through the middle with the massive appeal. We instill chill lyrics in your head to build. Like an architect to master what was once preset. The destination of a soldier's voice, infinite. To demonstrate that we're extractions from the higher being. From the seed of Mother Earth came the black human being. It's the blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? Well, it's that blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby.
All right, family, this brother Tim. You have been listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Tonight's show is entitled Tribal Quotes 914171. That's the start date, family. All right. And of course, you know this is a Heart of a Simba production. And if you like the fact of what we're bringing, if you like the ideas that we're discussing, don't just like it, share it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you share it because we're trying to build up this movement where we are thinking and we're doing some wisdom mining. And we got some other shows coming for you. And all the shows are designed to blow up your old paradigms. And I'm out.